Welcome to Bottom Up Prosperity channel. Just a quick video, kind of a review on David Bowie, Daydream, Moonage Daydream, the documentary currently out about him and his life and his art and music. And yeah, I went to see it last night with a couple of friends, and I must say it was very, very immersive. Engrossing, right from the opening shot right to the end. I wasn't bored, even though it was 135 minutes in runtime. One of my friends likened it to an acid trip. Yeah, it'd be good to watch stoned, but I was pretty sober, and yeah, because I'm with work and that, I'm just drink every now and then now at the moment. So, but it's brilliant. Opens up with a pretentious quote. And it looks pretentious, then you see it as a David Bowie quote, and you just kind of smile and laugh because he can get away with that. So anyone else saying that, you go, oh, you dickhead. And my other friend I was with earlier, before we saw it, said that good thing about David Bowie is that everyone liked David Bowie. As women loved him, men loved him. He was just kind of chill, wasn't arrogant. He was authoritative with his art and his visions and that. And yeah, it was brilliant. So basically, it has all the Ziggy Stardust stuff, his childhood, his art, how he created music, the different methodologies, and showed all the crowds and all the Ziggy Stardust mania or Ziggy mania back in the early 70s, of teenage girls and young men as well, almost passing out and crying and that. And yeah, it was just that kind of that whole vibe. And one thing that impressed me is his methodology, in the sense that he actually moved to Los Angeles, and he said he hates Los Angeles, he detests it, and this is in the 70s, and he spent 2 years there, and he was explaining that it grew on him. He got to get the vibes, he created his art more and stuff like that. And then he went to where he considered the most desolate place on earth, West Berlin, and he lived a very humble, simple life in a rundown apartment, simple, stripped back, and walked the streets and did all the stuff. And then he obviously got involved with Brian Eno, and obviously helped Lou Reed and all that stuff, and did all his other music. And then, of course, showed my favourite part of the film was when he was in the early 80s, when he was hanging out in Australia, Southeast Asia and that, and he said he had never bought a house, he was free, he was just kind of just walking the streets, and being David Bowie, but kind of chameleon like he was. When he had his bleach blonde hair, and he just walked the streets, walk into strip bars and just hang out, go through gardens and on escalators in Asia, which is a cliche. I've always thought of that. And he basically lived a life that lifestyle that I would do, and if I had more money. But I live a philosophy where I'm free, in a sense, with bottom up prosperity mindset that I've talked about on this channel, where totally free, live simple, and do what you want. So you can go out, drink what you want, take what drunks you want, fuck who you want, do whatever. But obviously there's a lot of consequences in that, and it didn't really go into a lot of the spiritual stuff around that in the doco, but it did show, it had the vibe of his hedonism a little bit, but it just kind of skirted over it. And one of my friends thought that was good, because it wasn't all about his hedonism and stuff, it's more about his art and the experience and that. So but the interesting thing is that even though he was doing that process of being 100% off-grid, walking around, not owning a house, obviously had money in the bank, record company and all this stuff, and reputation, but he was just free, walking around. And then he went simple and did the Let's Dance era type stuff. It was simple, more softer and all that. But the interesting thing is that he kind of, I wouldn't say sold out, but he went kind of corporate a little bit, did the big tour and made mega bucks and that, and it was totally different. And then, of course, by the 90s, he met Iman, and she was pretty cool. I always liked her. She was interesting, had that ebony ivory kind of look about them together, and she she just came across chill, man. You know, she was just black lady, and yeah, just kind of suited to him. So she was always cool. And of course, I like his son Duncan Jones, his film Moon. So obviously there's a lot of talent running in the family, but went through the 90s, and it deconstructed. So there's a lot of different art forms in the delivery and in the style of the film, which a lot of people would love. So it's kind of like a documentary. Put it up there in the top 10 music documentaries I've ever seen, including The Filth and the Fury, No Direction Home, by Martin Scorsese, about Bob Dylan, obviously D.A. Pennebaker's Don't Look Back, and all the weird Eat the Document stuff, unreleased, that Bob Dylan did, which included the John Lennon in the back of the taxi scene. But and then and I put it up there with the last waltz, that another Scorsese one about the band. So just put it up there as a really good music documentary. Different, it's immersive, it's artistic. I do recommend you see it. Even if you're not really into David Bowie, you'd get something out of it. It's just kind of interesting. Great to see in the cinema with the sound and the screen right there and that. And I will revisit it. I'll download it or watch it again sometime. And yeah, it was brilliant. And I did like how it went with the zeitgeist of each era and that. So the 1990s, it showed a lot of Matrix. It had a lot of sci-fi clips and stuff, like Keanu Reeves and Johnny Mnemonic, where he had the big visor over his head, and so it was like Matrix type stuff, deconstruction, New Millennium type stuff, and he was a bit more slicker and a bit more kind of a big arena type thing. And then of course I saw him in 2005 here in Wellington, and that was a great concert. It rained, and both my friends that I was with had seen them, went to that, so that was a life-changing concert in the sense that I got to see him, and this doco does a lot of justice. There's a lot of subtle spiritual kind of stuff in there, about life and death and that, because obviously passed away in 2016 from the cancer and that, and you can pick up little things. It's not in your face, it's not overt. It even had Alistair Crowley in it. He popped over on the image doing his, both hands on his face. So obviously had all that kind of weird dark stuff in there. But David Bowie is interesting. I'm going to go through his discography properly and listen to all his songs, and he's interesting. My friend remarked that I have a similar personality to David Bowie, but more kind of reserved, but love people, like the spotlight a bit, but not a extrovert in the sense that I'm like Paul McCartney or Bono or something like that. I'm more of a cerebral, like my solitude, like my art, like my stuff, but also like a little bit of hedonism in a controlled manner, whether it's woman or alcohol, but I drink less alcohol now, so so still a little bit of hedonistic, but any hedonism I practice or do, it's more from an experiential spiritual context, in the sense that I believe that we are experiencing the universe, and the universe has experienced itself through all of us, and all that. So I look at it kind of like that, and you want to be in balance, because it's better being in balance in this incarnation or lifetime and that. And of course, if you got some higher philosophy or spirituality or religious thing you're into, I encourage that, whatever rocks your boat, having a higher purpose. Even if you are nihilistic, you should at least have some intellectual heft behind it, we're at least kind of having some bigger ideas about the universe or society or whatever. So so it was a very Nietzschean Superman kind of vibe, hence the quote at the start of the film. And I give it just a solid 4.5 stars, maybe bordering on the 5. So yes, excellent, couldn't fault it. Should win an Academy Award for editing if it got nominated. That was that not well edited. It pulls you in, absorbs, and you're actually part of the experience. When it starts, you feel, oh god, this could be a long drag, but right from the start, you're in it, and you just love it. Till next time.